Hi, my name is Dale Schultz, and I consider myself a lifelong resident of the Brooklyn area here, and what I would like to do is share a little bit of the Brooklyn story through what I used to call the Brooklyn Walk. So we're going to take stops around town, and as we stop, we'll look at what present day Brooklyn looks like at that location, but I'll tell you a story or two from that location that just brings back some of the wonderful past of Brooklyn. And for the Brooklyn kids who came here, it was kind of a parting gift for them, because I always wanted the Brooklyn kids to feel proud coming to school here, and they're part of the Brooklyn story too, just by coming to the school. So I hope you enjoy this little walk around town and some of the stories you'll hear. So here we are at the Brooklyn Area Veterans Memorial here on the outside of town here on the edge. And when the kids enter the memorial area, I kind of talk to the kids as far as the hallowed grounds that they're walking on and how they need to enter this area with respect for those that served. And so the kids, they're wonderful. They'll come on the sidewalks just chanting and singing away, and as soon as we step onto the memorial area, things go really quiet fast. And I invite the kids to walk around the memorial and quietly look at things, just like if they were at a museum indoors. And then when I'm ready to give a story or two, I'll set the kids down right out in front of me, and not a sound is made. The kids are wonderful as they sit and begin to listen to the stories that are going to be shared, starting with the memorial. So I'll start my stories right here on the wall, and one of the things that's really interesting about this memorial is the fact that it spans all the eras, starting back with the Revolutionary War with Nathaniel Ames, and then it spans through all the other wars and conflicts that we've had throughout our nation's history, all the way to the war on terrorism. And that kind of makes this memorial kind of unique too, because not only does it span all of the eras that people lived in the Brooklyn area that served our country, but it also honors both living veterans as well as deceased. So it gives me more opportunities to share things about what veterans mean, who are current veterans as well as past veterans. One interesting story that I start with is in the Civil War, there was a gentleman that lived in Brooklyn whose name was John Bell. And John Bell fought in the Civil War and was wounded. He was shot in the head with a musket ball, and he was actually nursed back to health with the help of the Confederate soldiers. After he recovered from his war injury, he returned home to Brooklyn. Later, he went back into the Civil War, and in a second battle was shot in the head a second time and survived that wound. And actually, after he recovered from that wound, he moved back to Brooklyn, where he lived out the rest of his life as a business owner right here at Brooklyn. So that's kind of a neat story. Another story of a veteran that lived in the Brooklyn area was Virgil Lamb. I asked the kids if they've ever seen a picture where there were some soldiers raising up a flag, actually Marines raising up the flag, and the flag is kind of tilted at an angle. A lot of kids recognize that flag picture. They don't understand what it represents. So I explained to them that there was a tiny island in the Pacific Ocean, and that island was called Iwo Jima. And Virgil Lamb actually was part of that battle at Iwo Jima and was wounded in the assault on the island and returned home to recover from his wounds and lived out the rest of his life here as a Brooklyn resident. Virgil was a dedicated community member. He served on the fire department for like 40 years. He was a lifelong resident, and he actually had a son also named Virgil who served in the Marines and fought in Vietnam. So as a teacher for 34 years, and I also coach in the Evansville community, and I've been a coach in the Evansville community for 31 years, I've had the opportunity to work with literally thousands of kids over my adult life. And as I look at the wall with the Gulf War and the War on Terror, I can see some of my former students are listed on this wall. As a matter of fact, one gentleman from the Blosh family, Ian and Kyle, who are twins, one of those two boys is a general in the Air Force. And the other brother is also a colonel in the Air Force. And I'm not sure, but Eric, the third brother, is also a member of the military in some high-ranking capacity. So all of the kids find their paths as they grow older and leave Brooklyn School. And once again, now they're part of the Brooklyn story. So one of the final things I'll do with the kids here at the memorial is I'll talk to the kids about the World War II war effort and how that was a tough time for everybody that was living in our country, whether they were serving overseas, fighting in the war, or helping support the war effort right here at home. And that included kids all the way down to kids that were in elementary school. And one of the ways that I share how the kids help with the sacrifice is I read a little poem for the kids to hear how the kids supported the war effort, even at a young age. And the poem goes like this. We're saving all our pennies, and we're saving every one. We're going to keep on saving them until the war is won. With all the pennies that we save, stamps for defense we will buy. They pay for building tanks and guns and planes that guard our skies. And when we see a candy store, we'll never go within, because we know each stamp we buy will help our country win. That's sacrifice, kids, and how everybody chipped in. So we're going to be leaving the Veterans Memorial now, and we're going to be taking a walk up West Main Street, heading into town. And we're going to stop at a house along the way because there's a very interesting feature out by the road that I want to tell you a story about.